This model of a recovery truck has a body provided by EMPL, an Austrian company, and it's mounted on an MAN TGS chassis. It's in the colours of Eichenseer, a German recovery company. The model is made by Conrad and comes in a standard Conrad branded box, and there's no information provided about the real truck. Inside the box is the usual Conrad foam rubber protection, and it works well. And with the model is a small bag of parts that have to be fitted. There's no instructions with the model, but the assembly is pretty straightforward. As usual with a Conrad model, the first thing you have to do is to separate the door mirrors and aerials from their plastic mouldings, and you can just do that with a sharp modelling knife. The passenger side door mirror has an extra mirror that's best fitted on before you put the mirror onto the truck, and that's just done by pressing it into the holes that are already pre-formed in the cab. The other item to fix is a single roof aerial which just goes into the cab roof, and on the review model that went in very easily and with no fuss. There are two other pieces provided in the bag of parts, and these are brackets which are used for towing vehicles, but for storage you can clip them underneath the model, where there are specially designed brackets which the two pieces fit into, and in that way they're stored with the model but out of sight underneath. The front two axles have linked steering, but it's not modelled for accuracy, it's just modelled for functionality. Because of that, the drive shaft doesn't quite reach the gearbox, but at the back the detailing of the transmission and suspension is good. The tyres on the steering and driven axles are different, and they're mounted on detailed, highly chromed wheels which look very smart. The top of the cab has a roof aerial and visor, and an interesting graphic that says "Remember Big Boss." At the front the door mirrors are colour coded, the MAN logo is clearly presented, and the lights have real plastic lenses, but unfortunately there's no number plate. There are some detailed small graphics on the side of the cab including the MAN type number, and there are some more fine graphics on the top of the body behind the cab. The metal grab rails look good and they run down the top of the body to the rear, and at the back there are some good small graphics and the lights have lenses. Looking inside the body there's a nice beacon light bar on top, and you can see various tanks and the two winches. At the rear most of the equipment is metal, there are one or two plastic parts, but the match between plastic and metal parts is okay. This is a heavy model, mostly made of metal, and the good news is that it rolls very smoothly in a straight line. Picking the truck up, the rear axles are fixed, but the steering angle on the front axles is really very good, so you can get a hard lock. And not only that, but if you push the vehicle round in a curve, it rolls very well. There's no snagging of the wheels at all on the wheel arches, which is good. Another normal feature on a Conrad model is the tilting cab, and that works well on this version as well. You can keep it just about tilted in position and see the engine underneath. There's another interesting feature behind the cab, and that is the elevating beacon light, which can be pulled up so it's visible if the towing truck is pulling a high-sided vehicle. The vehicle's fitted with a couple of winches, so if you need to fix it in position and provide some reaction, there are a couple of pull-down feet at the back. They're very stiff on the model, and they've got little floating pads which can then adopt a good position on the ground. And because they're stiff, it means that they can hold the vehicle up off the ground so that the rear wheels are free. If you want to go in for some big time towing, you can fold down the towing bracket, and there are a couple of pieces which fit on the end which the wheels of a towed truck can fit into. And because they've got a sliding connection, you can actually tailor the width of the brackets to suit the vehicle that you're towing. The whole arrangement is also telescopic. So let's give it a go, and here we've got a poor old broken down concrete mixer, and we can just slot the front wheels into the towing bracket and set it right, and then you can just tow the truck mixer along, and it all looks really pretty good. Another feature is that the whole of the towing arm is controlled by a couple of hydraulic cylinders, and these work on the model, so you can, by applying actually quite a lot of force, you can raise the whole assembly up. The cylinders really are very stiff, so this is really a good test for your fingers. But if you're up to the challenge, you can raise the whole boom, and it actually goes up fairly high. By doing that, it does allow another feature to kick into play, and that is there's a towing hitch at the bottom, and that's normally stowed to one side, but with the boom raised up you can just fold it across and it clips into place, and so in theory you could tow a vehicle with a tow bar if you had one. The other working feature is the twin winches, and these both work independently. You can just pull out some thread, and to wind the thread back in you just use your thumb or finger on the drum and it winds in. It's a little harder to operate the inner winch drum because it's that much further into the body, so unless you've got small fingers it's just a little bit more difficult to operate the winch, but it does work and it works well. With the winches you can simulate the recovery of a truck, like this one that an idiot member of the CranesEtcTV team managed to tip over. This is a very good model of a recovery truck by Conrad. It's very heavy and solidly made. The details are good and it looks great in the colour scheme, and there are plenty of interesting features which work well. It's highly recommended.